Hey guys, Stefan Fischer here from All of Road. Today's video is months in the making, and to be honest, I edit stuff all the time because every 2 to 3 days I get new information. I'm here to share the latest developments in regards to the DCS lithium batteries I had for over 3 years under the bonnet of my Land Cruiser, and some what I consider concerning business practices which have come to light from DCS. I will also address and correct some misleading statements made by DCS and Steward Paternoster, one of their spokespeople and biggest reseller, about myself. I present several examples of battery failures from my own experience, but also examples sent in by my viewers. Moreover, I explain why it's so crucial to do capacity tests, especially if you have LiFePo4 batteries under the bonnet. To help you with this, I provide you a step-by-step guide to capacity test your LiFePo4 batteries. Make sure you watch to the end, because I give you a few tips how you may be able to extend your warranty period of DCS batteries well beyond what it is advertised for. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this video, I would like to make a disclaimer and also tell you about my motivation making this video. DCS provided me all the batteries I received from them for review and testing purposes, and I have not paid for any of these DCS batteries. I want to make it abundantly clear that the update on the DCS battery has nothing to do with any personal grievances. Ideally, all the issues I present you in this video wouldn't exist, because that would mean I wouldn't have to make this video. But transparency to my viewers is my top priority. My initial endorsements of the DCS batteries, especially for under bonnet, were based on my experience at the time. However, after observing their performances over a longer time period, I had to re-evaluate my position on the DCS batteries. Many of you trust my videos, so it is important for me to update you if my experiences and views changed, and that's what I'm doing with this video. After using 3 different sets of DCS LiFePo4 batteries under the bonnet of my Land Cruiser over the past 3 years, I learned the critical importance of doing capacity tests, especially if you have the batteries under the bonnet. So let's dive into a quick overview of my experience with the DCS batteries, and also let me show you some examples from people around me and viewers who contacted me. I installed the first DCS batteries in November 2019, and they lost over 30% capacity by December 2020. DCS said it was because of the old passive balancing. Upgraded to their new active balanced marine batteries in February 2021. Didn't use them much cause of COVID, and then DCS recalled them for BMS issues. Ended up with the latest version in December 2021. After over 16 months with the last set of the DCS lithium batteries under the bonnet, it was time for capacity test. So before I went to Germany, I brought the batteries to Joe from JS Auto Electrics, and he did a capacity test for me. We unfortunately found out that one battery lost over 50% capacity and the second one nearly 30% capacity. Joe confirmed these findings with a second third-party capacity test. To make matters worse, Joe had a DCS lithium under the bonnet of his Prado for 2 years now. That was not alternator charged and was only used to power a fridge. So after my results, he did a capacity test there and lost 30% in 2 years. But this was still not the end. One of my viewers had 2 90 amp hour DCS under the bonnet of his 70 series Land Cruiser. One was replaced last year due to failure. A recent capacity test showed that the less than a year old battery lost nearly 19% capacity, while the 18 months old one was down by a staggering 40%. Without these tests, we would be clueless about the significant losses. I recently also did a capacity test on 2 130 amp hour DCS batteries which I had in storage for over a year. One was close to capacity, but the other lost 6.23%, or maybe it never had the full capacity. Unfortunately, I didn't do an initial capacity test. Here's another one for you. 2 130 amp hour DCS lithium batteries were installed in a 200 series Land Cruiser in March 2022. One battery completely tanked. Just look at the cell 4. The second battery isn't faring much better, showing seriously unbalanced cell packs. Here's one more example for you. One of my viewers installed a dual DCS 100 Ah marine setup back in September 2021. After catching my recent video, he ran a capacity test. One battery lost 32% capacity, the other 11%. And that's in just 2 years. As another example, we got a Jeep JK here with batteries just under 3 years old. The cars only clocked 15,000 kilometers and the batteries just 34 cycles. Capacity test showed the first battery down by about 28% and the second by roughly 25%. Again, a capacity loss way higher than expected. So you had, when it came, it all looked all right?
Yes, I pulled it out of the box. It was quite a few weeks ago. I pulled it all out and it looked fine. It looked perfect. No issues or dramas. And then because I'm going to be fitting it I was going to be fitting it next weekend into my brother-in-law's vehicle, and we opened it up and that's what I saw.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's that, and it was sitting in the box like this, right? And then when
So that happened then here on the bench, or?
underneath, it was just sitting underneath the bench. That's exploded out and it tore the box down the bottom of the box there as well.
Here's another example of two 100 Ah DCS batteries which are nearly 3 years old, installed in parallel in a caravan. Despite identical usage, one maintains 102 Ah capacity with 11 cycles. The second shows a 15% capacity loss and a BMS issue, disconnecting the circuit at 12.36 volt, preventing further discharge. This happens despite both batteries having the same usage history. The problematic battery has 62 cycles. This suggests a likely BMS fault. Let's delve into Jay's experience. He bought a 75 Ah DCS battery for his 2019 Hilux in May 2022, installing it under the bonnet. It was solely used as an auxiliary battery for powering a fridge and recharging electronics. Charged by a Redarc BCDC 1225D. Motivated by my video, Jay conducted a capacity discharge test, which showed just over 20% capacity loss after only 16 months of usage. Consequently, he returned the batteries to DCS. DCS response was unusual. They performed a capacity test by discharging the battery with 93 amps down to 11.39 volts, lower than their own specifications, and then recharged it to 14.7 volts using a custom Victron profile, higher than their guidelines. This method displays just under 20% capacity loss. However, charge tests aren't reliable for assessing true battery capacity due to potential internal resistance issues, particularly if there are faults in the cell pack. A discharge test is generally more accurate. DCS's warranty states a battery is defective if it fails to deliver less than 80% of its rated capacity, which implies discharge. Despite this, DCS rejects Jay's warranty claim after the return. Jay then conducted 2 additional discharge tests, both confirming over 20% capacity loss. He has now escalated this issue by filing a claim with QCAT. Look, this is just our experience and the verified experiences from people who contacted me. And from what I've seen and heard so far, these do not seem to be isolated incidences. I'm keen to hear about your experience with DCS under the bonnet, good or bad, and in particular if you have done some proper testing. So please share your experiences in the comment section below. When Jay mentioned my video to DCS, their response was disappointingly unprofessional, including spreading falsehoods about me. I feel it's important to address these inaccuracies as DCS might be communicating similar untruths to others. This is the email DCS sent to Jay. Former dealer status. I've never been a dealer for DCS or any other company for that matter. Products for review. All products from DCS that I've reviewed were sent to me for that specific purpose. I've never purchased a product from them. I also always include disclaimers in my videos. Dishonesty? Well, I research to the best of my ability, I'm not scared of asking for independent advice, and I have receipts for everything I say. Anyway, I don't like these tit for tats. However, given that this email is likely sent out to more customers of DCS, I just wanted to clarify this once. Some of my viewers made me aware of quite questionable business practices on behalf of DCS. So let me show you a few examples. This is the DCS Australia website for their dual under bonnet batteries. Let's have a look at the operating temperature range, which is from -30 to +110 degrees Celsius. Now let's have a look on the US website. So exactly the same batteries. They are also marked as starter batteries. The website specs don't tell us too much, but we can download an extensive datasheet. And if we look at that, this is in Fahrenheit, but so the charge temperature range, which obviously is under bonnet alternator charged, is only 65 degrees Celsius. And that is much closer to the 60 degrees the cells are rated for. So on the US website, the same battery is not rated to 110 degrees under the bonnet, but only to 60 degrees. Go figure. One of my viewers also sent me these older DCS blog posts, which indicates that the DCS lithium under the bonnet should last 2000 cycles and up to 10 years, as they state here in these posts. Go figure. I've recently also become aware that DCS has discreetly modified their warranty terms without clearly marking the date of these changes. The only source for DCS's terms is their website, as they don't provide a user manual or terms and conditions with their products. Although the DCS website indicates the latest update was on June 14, 2021, they have actually reduced their capacity warranty from 80 to 70%, sometimes between March and November 2023, without any notification on their site. Thankfully, tools like the Wayback Machine allow us to view past versions of websites. Despite requests from several individuals, including myself, DCS has neither privately nor publicly disclosed the exact date they altered their terms. Unfortunately, more and more things are brought to my attention. Another one of my viewers raised a red flag about numerous positive Google reviews for DCS batteries, originating from countries where DCS apparently doesn't sell. This raises suspicions about the authenticity of these reviews, hinting at the possibility of paid endorsements to overshadow the negative feedback. Based on what my viewers are telling me, they are hearing the same story from DCS about water ingress as I was initially told. However, that explanation didn't hold up when we opened a battery to find no water ingress, prompting DCS to tell me then that the whole batch had been scrapped due to faulty cells. DCS claims that over-tightening the batteries causes the lid to separate from the case, allowing water in. If that's the case, it seems the batteries aren't fit for purpose. My concern is twofold. First, almost everyone I talk to hasn't driven through high water. Second, and more critical, DCS claims this is not a warranty issue. The batteries appear unsuitable for under bonnet installation if they can't be securely fastened without the case deforming, or allow water ingress for normal on- and off-road operations. Even the DCS website shows batteries with warped cases, which to me indicates a product that's not up to the task. In my opinion, the DCS's 3-year under bonnet warranty could be legally extended. Australian consumer law talks about acceptable product quality and durability. DCS claims 2,500 cycles for their under bonnet battery. A premature failure in just say 5 to 6 years and well below 2,500 cycles doesn't align with that or general LiFePo4 battery expectations. I'm not a lawyer, but I've successfully invoked this consumer law to get out of warranty replacements before. So if your battery fails down the line, outside of the warranty period, I still would recommend challenging DCS on these. Of course, this all won't matter if the batteries do what they're supposed to do. Let me give you another example. Fortunately, there is something like the Wayback Machine, which lets you have a look at website some time ago. So I'm looking here at the DCS 100 amp hour marine lithium battery. Let's have a look at March 11, 2023. So here we see 2,500 cycles at 100% depth of discharge, and there are no other restrictions. So if we have a look at the current 100 amp hour marine battery, which was under bonnet suited, so all of a sudden it says 2,500 cycles at 100% depth of discharge to 80% capacity retention at 25 degrees, which for under bonnet, that's obviously never gonna happen. And this is another significant silent change DCS made to their warranty. Just keep in mind, if you purchased the battery before and you don't reach your 2,500 cycles, you probably have a good case in getting a warranty replacement. Next, let's tackle false claims by Steward Paternoster about my DCS battery experience. He blocked me from all Facebook groups he administers, effectively silencing my abilities to counter his misinformation and lies. To set the record straight, I've never spoke with Steward regarding my DCS batteries. All my dealings have been directly with DCS and he was never involved in any of it. He's offering opinions based on second-hand information at best. There is no hidden story here. I've been upfront about my experience with DCS batteries, even when I decided not to use them under the bonnet anymore. Unlike Steward, I can back up my claims with receipts. DCS was fully aware of how I intended to use the batteries. They provided me with 3 different sets of under bonnet batteries for my Land Cruiser. Anyone who watches my YouTube channel knows how I use the products. As for my technical expertise, I never claimed to be an electrical engineer. However, I do extensive testing on a wide range of products and welcome expert advice. Steward, who used to work in car detailing, questions our capacity testing methods. For the record, our testing procedures, while not a bench test, has proven accuracy variance of below 1.5%. We use devices from Amazon, not eBay, that are well regarded for their accuracy. We even had independent third-party verification of our methods, which I'd argue are more diligent than DCS owns testing criteria. Additionally, Steward's stance on Australian consumer law is very questionable. He told customers they must cover return postage on faulty items, even suggesting a 50-50 split for heavier products is Australian law. That is not accurate. Australian consumer law is clear that the supplier covers the cost, so don't let him fool you and know your rights. Curious why Steward might be removing negative comments about DCS batteries? Well, I've got a theory. He claims to have sold thousands of these units. Now, if even a small percentage comes back as returns, he is looking at significant shipping costs. Plus, if DCS were to exit the Australian market, Steward would be on the hook for warranty claims for years to come. I've got more examples to share, but that'll do for now. Just to clarify, our experiences might not be universal, but it's not a one-off either. So let's now get into the actual capacity testing. In many caravan and camping forums on Facebook, for example, you hear often the question asked, which is the best LiFePo4 battery? The answers are usually fairly simple. My one is running for 2 years, everything is beautiful, it's working well. However, in reality, that means very little besides saying that the battery hasn't outright failed. Lithium battery technology is very different to a regular lead acid or AGM battery, and it includes many different components like battery management systems, case design, wiring, cell balancing systems. It is complex technology and it's all sealed inside a box you usually can't open. Obviously, the best would be to open the battery and look into it and inspect the components, but that would void your warranty and it's not really a good solution for most. However, one thing you can do is capacity testing your battery. And it is advisable to do that right after you purchase and then in yearly intervals. Because that will give you a good idea of the state of health of your battery. You see how much capacity lost, and then you can actually make an educated decision how well that battery is performing for you. So let me show you how I do my capacity tests. Testing a battery's capacity is easier than you may think, and you don't need any high-end scientific gear to get it done. Ignore the talk that battery testers from Amazon or eBay are not accurate. We've run our own trials with MakerHawk and RTorch DL24, and they've proven to be reliable, showing less than 1.5% variance when compared to a Victron charger. There are also many YouTube videos by respected content creators who have tested them and find them accurate. So let's quickly go over the equipment I use to do the capacity discharge tests. Number one, I have here the MakerHawk, that is from Amazon. Then I also have an RTorch DL24. I think this one I purchased from eBay. There should be also a link in the description. And then I found another one on Amazon, which is a DTL 150. And I have links for all of them in my video description to my Amazon store. And yeah, there are the three devices I extensively tested. I did many discharge tests on the same battery, compared them all, and they all have less than 1.5% variation. So more than accurate enough for what we want to do. On top of that, I also have several Victron 220 volt lithium chargers or battery chargers. They have a lithium profile. This here is a 1217 version. They come in all different sizes. I've got probably 5 of them. Links to my Amazon store is in the video description. Remove the negative cable from the battery so you isolate it from any load and charge. Now we hook up the battery to the 220 volt Victron charger. Make sure it's set to the lithium profile just to ensure the battery is fully charged. Now it's time to disconnect the 220 volt charger. I keep the alligator clamps connected to the battery and swap over the charger to the MakerHawk via an Anderson plug. I press and hold the settings button to reset all data on the MakerHawk. Make sure the 2 dials which control the current are set all the way to the left. Set the current draw via the dials to 10 amps. The top dial increases the current by bigger increments. The bottom dial is for fine-tuning. Now let the test run until the battery BMS does low voltage disconnect the battery. Keep in mind, depending on your battery size, these may take a while. For instance, a 100 amp hour battery tested with a 10 amp current should take around 10 hours. Keep in mind the MakerHawk capacity tester comes in very handy because you can also capacity test other batteries with it. When the test is done, disconnect the unit from the battery and then take a picture of the results. What is important for our purpose though is how many amp hours could we draw from the battery. You can also see that value in watt hours as well as elapsed time. Okay, let's now do a control recharge test to make sure that we are not too far off and that our results are quite accurate. First off, plug in the charger and clear any previous charging history. Next, hook up the charger to your battery and let it do its thing until it's done. Make sure the cycle status says completed when it wraps up. Now, if your numbers from your discharge and recharge test are within 2 to 3%, you can be quite certain that you have pretty accurate results. So guys, that's how we do pretty accurate capacity tests to see whether the batteries are still working as they should. If you ask me whether I think that's an isolated case, unfortunately I don't think so. We simply have too many examples where the battery fail in the same manner and where we see an excessive capacity loss of the DCS lithium under the bonnet. Does that mean every battery under the bonnet is affected? No, I don't think so, because I think the longevity under the bonnet depends on many different factors. However, none of that factors really is mentioned on the DCS website or is advised in any way. So if you have a DCS LiFePo4 under the bonnet, the only way to find out whether your battery is going to fail somewhere in the bush is to do a capacity test and see whether you are on track. So for peace of mind, I really would advise doing a capacity test, especially say 3 months before your warranty runs out. Personally, I think this is the tip of the iceberg. And as more and more batteries now reach the 2 and 3 year age, I think we will see more and more of these failures and very heavy capacity loss. So better be safe than sorry and do a capacity test. Just one last tip. Before you contact the reseller, I would definitely do a capacity test yourself. And if you see you have lost too much capacity, get a third-party professional capacity test done and only then approach the reseller or the manufacturer. Because I have heard now of quite a few incidences where, how should I put it, the reseller and distributor try to come up with some pretty unusual excuses why the capacity tests performed were not correct. As you probably can imagine, testing products over a lifespan of 3 years takes a lot of time and effort. So I would greatly appreciate if you could share, like and subscribe, because it all helps the algorithm and pushes the video up the rankings on YouTube. And it would be even greater if you could head over to Patreon or buy me a coffee and support me with a cup of coffee or two per month, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you along the tracks.